end wherever you are watching. And I thought I would just stop by before I share the video of the interview that I had with Tom McConaughey for the Peoria Irish Fest, which is the festival in question for this week's Fest Watch. I thought I would stop by to let you know as a reminder that the Colm Keegan Radio Show is on today for anyone in local here in Glasgow. It is 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And just after the show ends at 8:30 p.m. here local time, which is 3:30 p.m. Eastern, is the Irish Fest Stages special that Laura and I are going to be putting on with a band as well. That's going to be over in stageit.com. So if you want to fill your evening with Colm Keegan events, you can watch this video here, which is going to be an interview that I had with Tom McConaughey, who's the entertainment chair at the Peoria Irish Fest, as I said, the festival in question for Fest Watch this week. And he's going to be talking about all things Peoria Irish Fest to expect this weekend. And it's an amazing festival for anyone in the area to be. I couldn't recommend enough getting tickets. You could do so by going onto their website, peoriairishfest.com. and pick up some tickets for that. After this interview ends, the Colm Keegan Radio Show is going to start 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Here local time, which is 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern. And then when the radio show ends tonight, you can jump straight over to Stageit and pick up tickets for the Colm Laura Keegan Irish Fest special, which is us performing in a venue in Dublin with a camera crew and sound engineer and four-piece band of terrific musicians, which we're really excited about. So that is the agenda for today. But here is the interview that I had with Tom McConaughey, which is also going to be played in the second hour of the Colm Keegan Radio Show. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope I'll see you at some stage today, whether that's listening to the radio show or over on stage later. Take care, folks. Hope you enjoy. Here's the interview that I had with Tom. Hello and welcome back to the Colm Keegan Show here on Celtic Music Radio. Well, if you're only tuning into the program now, we're in the middle of Fest Watch this week. And this week we're looking at all things Peoria Irish Festival, taking place this coming weekend, 27th to the 29th of August. And joining me now live on air to help discuss it further, we've got Tom McConaughey all the way over from the Peoria Irish Fest live in studio. Tom, how are you doing?
I'm great, Colm. It's great to be with you this morning.
Well, it's great to have you. Yes, no, that's absolutely fine. It's great to have you here to discuss the festival, and it's this coming weekend, so I'd imagine that things are pretty busy for you now at the minute, Tom.
We are in the middle of setting up. I haven't gone down yet this morning. We had a big storm last night. Hopefully the tents are still on the ground.
Oh my God. I mean, all of the logistics you have to worry about. Like people say in Ireland that you should never plan something outdoors over the summer, but in the States you'd think you'd be fine with it. But what's the weather looking like for the weekend? Is everything going to be going okay?
It's actually looking really good. It might be a little bit warm. We've got beer, so
yeah,
no problem.
You guys think of everything. You think of everything.
It was a last-minute decision.
Well, Tom, before we talk about the festival itself and what people who have tickets are expected to see and hear, and then I also want to talk about the virtual performance that went out as well. I would like to maybe talk about your role as well within the festival and perhaps what brought you in to the world of Irish festivals as well. So first of all, I mean, within Peoria Irish Fest, what role would you play within that?
Well, my title, I guess, is entertainment chair. The way we're set up is we have a kind of a steering committee and everybody has sort of an area that they're in charge of. So I guess that's what I head up. And I have a committee that starts meeting really right after the last fest to talk about what we want to try to do for our lineup the next year. And from there, I kind of take those recommendations and go off and try to put them into effect by talking to agents and bands and things like that. Sure. And then I do the contract work to get it all set up.
Which is the real rock and roll side of things that people don't see.
Yeah. and then around this time of year, I start just hearing from everybody with all of their questions because they're getting ready and they want to know where the hotel is and things like that. All that kind of stuff. It's good. It's good.
Oh, God, I don't know how you do it, Tom. And you still got a smile on your face, which is even more impressive. How many years have you been working with the Irish Fest then?
Well, I've probably been with them for about 10 years or so. And it's only a couple, 3 years that I've actually kind of been the committee chair. I'm not a native Peorian, and we moved into town. And one time we decided just to go see what this Irish Fest was all about. And we actually fell in love with it. And so I got a hold of them and said, hey, is there something you'd like me to do? And they're like, yes. So it's been since then I've just gotten more involved. It's a great group of people and a lot
Well,
of fun.
do you know? I mean, I haven't had the pleasure of visiting the Peoria Irish Fest in person, but I've heard again that terrific things about it. And one thing that I think is true of each of the festivals that I have had the pleasure of visiting is that when you talk about that camaraderie and just the group that are involved in putting on the festivals, making it work, there's just something really special about each of the festivals that I've been lucky enough to visit. There's just something within the staff, the volunteers, that makes everything click, and it makes it such an enjoyable environment, even for people myself showing up to work. There's something really contagious about it, and I can imagine Peoria's probably no different on that front.
Well, it's a really good experience. I mean, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of people spend a lot of time on it, but you're sort of all pulling on the oars together and working towards a mutual goal. And then you get to the weekend and it happens and it's like, holy cow, how did we do this wonderful?
For the weekend itself, I mean, I've kind of asked each of the people that I've spoken to here in FestWatch this question: that is it a weekend that you can, at any point during the weekend, can you sit back, relax? Maybe relax is the wrong word, but sit back and enjoy what's going on, or is it just second the festival starts, it is just a blur until it ends?
Well, it's a bit of a blur, and certainly more so for other people. Because I have oversight for the music, I'm lucky enough that part of what I need to do is go see the musicians perform and see how the crowd reacts to them. So it's a great gig for me.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm sitting there listening to some fabulous music, so it's really nice.
Oh, that's great.
I try to pull them away for a few minutes and sit them down with me and make sure they can catch some of that, because it is true that some people are, particularly the people working on logistics and the guys who drive around the beer trucks, really, really busy all weekend. So.
Oh yeah. I know it's amazing. I mean, at every festival, I almost feel guilty asking somebody to do something, because you can see that there's already a queue of people behind asking for the most minute, small details. But it's amazing. And so, what kind of to give the listeners a bit of an image then of what the festival's like? You guys are the riverfront there in Peoria, isn't it? Is that where it takes place?
Exactly.
So I'd say it's a gorgeous location. How many staff would we be talking about that puts a festival or something of this magnitude together? Is it a large committee of people working within the Peoria Irish Fest?
Well, the steering committee is about 20 people, and then
Okay.
person on the steering committee has a committee, and those can vary in size. So, and then of course, when the fest comes, we have a whole bunch of people who volunteer time at the. So we probably have several hundred people who are involved altogether.
It's amazing. It really is amazing, and they're the unsung heroes of the weekend. That I always think when things look easy, it's because people are doing a really good job behind the scenes. That you don't, when everything looks seamless and the transitions on stage and everything, and performers are happy, and there's just so many things that you guys do and think of. It's amazing. And talking about this weekend, then, for those who have a ticket, lucky enough to have a ticket and are going to the festival, you've got amazing musicians lined up. And you Scythian, Eileen Ivers, Gothic Sisters, Adam and John, Byrne Brothers. I can't imagine as the entertainment. I'm sure it's been a year to forget in a lot of regards, trying to book people in this year of all years. What does that be like, Tom?
Well, it's been very interesting. I mean, it's kind of funny because, of course, we had to cancel the fest last year. So what we invite everybody back for this year, and everybody said yes. I thought I was done last, November. But of course, as you well know, there's quite a process involved in trying to come over to perform at a festival. There's a visa and other paperwork to line up, and literally, the Irish groups were not able to go into the U.S. consulate to finish off that paperwork all spring, as you know. I mean,
Unfortunately,
so kind of over the course of the spring, we had people really regretfully canceling. So we were redoing our schedule, and we actually picked up another Irish group who had all of their visas in place because they were planning to be over here for an extended period of time. And we put them in as a substitute, somebody we'd had, Jig Dam, great group.
Yeah.
Before. But then it came that when they were to come over, they weren't allowed to enter the U.S. So even though they had
their statement at the start of the summer, yeah, I mean,
yeah, so it's just been really tough for, as you well know, for all of the Irish and Scottish entertainers. So that's caused us to have to go back and do some replacing with people who are based in the States, and we've just been fantastically lucky. I mean, there's plenty of people who are here who are Irish citizens and happen to be here, or they're second generation and they have a family history. There's a great group of musicians we're able to call on. So we're very, very fortunate that things worked out as well as they did, because I do think we have, I don't mean to pat myself on the back or us on the back.
No, I mean, pat yourself away, Tom. I mean, it's a terrific
lineup. And we're very excited to see them all.
It absolutely is. Looking through it, I think that it's going to be a terrific weekend for anyone lucky enough to be able to go to it. And, you know, just when you're talking about the difficulties, I do totally sympathize. I probably can't empathize, because I can't imagine how much you know, work that has been on your plate for the last few months. I definitely feel, you know, a sort of sense of guilt, because I know I was one of those musicians who was, you know, I think a lot of us felt in springtime, it seemed like the process was going to be, once if you received your vaccine, you'd be able to travel again. And that seemed like that was given a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. And the summer then looked possible when the vaccine rollout was happening. And then, as you said, the embassies then weren't really opening up, and they weren't then issuing new visas. So even though it looked like we could go, then there was a bit of a backlog then of a waiting game. So, you know, for you to be on the other end of that waiting game, I'm sure wasn't much fun.
It was nothing compared to what you guys had to go through. I mean, it's just been an utterly difficult year for so many musicians.
It has. And I you know, and I think that must be something that I look at all these festivals happening each weekend, and I just feel total festival envy, you know, because I'm sure after the year that it's been, after the year and a half it's been, just to hear live music again it must be really, really special. I can just imagine this weekend sitting down, getting these musicians on stage and being able to experience that again, that, you know, I haven't had the pleasure of experiencing since March of whenever it was that everything locked down. You know, it must be a pretty exciting prospect, I'm sure, amidst all the chaos of making it all work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We are completely psyched. I mean, it was absolutely necessary, but also kind of crushing that we couldn't do it last year. Yeah. And that it's actually, the fact that it's actually happening is very, very exciting. Just very exciting.
So before we talk about some of the other elements of the festival, Tom, perhaps you can maybe talk about the virtual performance. You know, and that's not to give a shameless plug as well. I was delighted that you reached out. That you reached out to myself and Laura to be included in it, and we were more than happy to put together a set for you guys virtually, which, all things considered, is a luxury that we can still be involved in these festivals in some way, shape, or form at the minute. But if people weren't aware that, you know, they mightn't be in the area, they might think, I can't see any of this. You know, there is a virtual element to it that went live this week that maybe you could perhaps mention.
Yeah, we're actually very excited about that, and it's absolutely a new thing for us. So we decided to try to keep it relatively short this year, because it's a training exercise, but we were extremely fortunate that you were willing to help us out and some great tunes. And they finished off our virtual festival. We've got two bands performing. The other band is a band called Kennedy's Kitchen. They're out of Indiana, and they're longtime good friends and great people of the festival. And they're performing a set of numbers. And then we've got two local profs from the local college talking about, well, the first is a short thing on Yeats. It's an English professor who teaches Yeats, and he also is something of a musician. So it's a kind of a neat.
Wow, best of both worlds.
He talks a little bit about Yeats and sings a Yeats poem.
Oh, wow.
Accompanying him on Irish harp. And then the second one is a talk on Gaelic sports, which is just fun. We thought that'd be good to include.
Oh, yeah, super.
The whole thing runs maybe an hour and a half. It's I think accessible through our website, and as I say, you're the star. So you with a terrific set of music, and it's been locked in my head all morning. I was driving into work this morning, and I had you singing in my head.
Tom, there's medication you can take for that now.
Maybe, I don't know.
No, as I said, I was absolutely thrilled to be able to be involved, and it's although we have festival envy of being not able to be over in person, it's a real treat to be able to be involved in a virtual capacity for sure. And thanks again for inviting us to that. So if you're tuning into the show now, we're in the middle of Fest Watch this week. We're talking about the Peoria Irish Fest, which is taking place this coming weekend, 27th to the 29th of August. And I'm live here in studio with the entertainment director, Tom McConaughey, of the Peoria Irish Fest itself. Tom, could you maybe talk a little bit about the activities that are in place that aren't music related? Because that's something that when I started doing the festivals, in my naivety, I thought it was just a music performance. There were stages and bands, and I was very quickly blown away by just how many cultural boxes are ticked by these Irish festivals that take place. So it's not just a music festival, although that is an important element to it. Perhaps you could maybe mention some of the non-musical elements to the festival as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the way we run is we have 3 music stages, and then we have a stage that's dedicated to dance. And we have dance troupes that do Irish and Scottish dance. This year, we've also got Danielle Enblom, who is a Sean-Nós dancer, and she'll be dancing and also doing some workshops. And then because we've got our musicians doing workshops this year, we've got the Byrne brothers and the Gothard sisters both doing a dance workshop as opposed to a music workshop. So they'll be doing that on the dance stage. So dance is a big focus of what we do. And then we've got what we call sort of the cultural village. We've got some different things there. We've got, well, for example, Friday night and Saturday night, we have a woman who does an Irish wake, and then we have a little musical interlude, and then we have a guy who tells Irish ghost stories following her.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, and then we have, crafts people. We have some people doing the talks. We have the Gaelic sports talk will be given. We have somebody talking about genealogy and searching for your roots in Ireland. We have somebody bringing Irish wolfhounds. So we have a variety. We have a good variety of things to kind of let people know that there is quite a bit to Irish culture. Then we are also running a Highland Games on Saturday and Sunday. So Saturday is you can try it out yourself if you want to, and then Sunday is an actual competition. So
no way. It's
pretty cool. Yeah.
Which is cool, why I wanted to ask, because I'm sure now some of the listeners are getting the sense that I certainly got when I showed up at the festivals, thinking this is far bigger an enterprise, an organization, and celebration of Celtic culture than I naively thought before arriving. And I still have not gotten used to that, where you can travel so far away from home, get a long haul flight and then take a cab ride from the airport to this village and have so many people celebrating your culture that I didn't even know existed beforehand. And it's phenomenal. Outside of the festival, talking about Peoria as an area, do you know what the connection is to Ireland and Scotland? Do you know why is there such a celebration? I probably should have. I'm sorry to put you on the spot with this.
Well, I'm not a native, so I can only say what I know.
Sure.
There's a large Irish American community here. There is a St. Patrick's Society, and really the Irish Fest is actually a committee of the St. Patrick's Society in partnership with the Peoria Park.
Okay.
There's a long time history. We are also a cathedral city, so we have a Catholic cathedral down the street.
Okay.
A large population of Irish Catholic folks in town as well. So there's just a lot of people have ended up here for whatever reason. And it's a very, very vibrant community. One of the things that we also feature at the fest is our local and regional Irish bands. And we have, I think, 7 local bands performing. So there's a very strong community of Irish musicians in town as well. We like to celebrate at the fest. So there's a lot.
It's terrific. It's absolutely brilliant, and it really is a pleasure to be able to take part in these things and just see how alive and rich the culture is, which is terrific to see. Tom, thank you so much for taking the time out of such a busy week to have a chat about the festival. I would love to be there in person. I'm sure it'll be an absolutely terrific weekend, and if you can, enjoy the fact that you've gotten to this stage of a year, I can't imagine what it's been like for you, Tom. So enjoy every second of it. And if there's anyone listening who is perhaps listening overseas, you know, a lot of people tune into the radio show online at CelticMusicRadio.net. If there's anyone listening that might be in the general direction that would like to pick up tickets, are there still tickets available for the festival?
Yes. I think at this point our online have shut down, but they're available at the door. So
Perfect.
Come, and we would love to see you in person as soon as we can.
Yeah, well, we'll certainly try our best whenever we can. Tom McConaughey, thank you so much for taking the time out. It's been a treat joining and chatting about the festival. Best of luck this weekend. I'm sure it'll be a huge success, and I look forward to watching from afar on social media at all the events that take place. But best of luck, and thanks again for taking the time out to chat.
Thanks very much. Good to talk with you.
Likewise, Tom. Thanks.